Happy Monday, Les. How are you?
I'm great, and so are you. Happy Monday to you as well.
How are you doing? You look like you're in a new background for us today.
You know, you got to move around and be flexible when you are doing stuff.
Right. Well, I know that you can't be traveling too far because it's not 2027.
You got that right. No. That's not happening. I'm not traveling anywhere. Everything is virtual, and that's exciting.
It is. It's a whole new world, isn't it?
It really is. And people must be flexible and look for ways as fast as possible to make the adjustment because there are people who are looking for ways to maximize their ability to have greater impact and living with a sense of urgency because we know that tomorrow is not promised. And so people who are moving in that kind of consciousness are the people that are going to soar to new heights.
Is that what you're going to talk to us about today?
Yes, about taking advantage of making things happen now. When you look at the passing of Chadwick, he lived his life full. He did a lot of stuff. He left some memorable work. He did roles that had meaning and purpose and amplifying the careers of other individuals who had great impact. And his life also was impactful. And he did this under extreme circumstances of battling colon cancer. And so this man is his life. He's been a hero. And I want to talk about that doing what it is you're supposed to do. We're all called to do something and do it because tomorrow's not promised.
You know, I have been watching. I sent you some of the videos that I saw, right? You always, unfortunately, a lot of times you find out more awesome stuff about someone after they pass. And I
Yeah.
just wish I would have known a lot of that before, right? Because, you know, our timelines have been flooded with like all the videos of everything he's done. And he was amazing.
Yes, he was an amazing individual. And he organized a very good team around him. There were no leaks about the challenges that he was facing. And when I read the information, it just punched me in the gut that this brother was gone because his life was so meaningful. I'm going to talk about seeing the movie Black Panther and how it impacted me, but how art can really determine how people see themselves. And he, in that groundbreaking movie, really transformed how we see ourselves.
Well, I'm super excited to hear this today. I do want to say hello to everybody. Please let us know where you're watching from. We've already got somebody in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
California. Listen, I'm in Kansas City and it's pouring rain. I have never been more jealous of Danielle.
Yeah.
Right there. Staten Island in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Florida. Hello, Lori. I mean, we've got people from all the UK. Hello, Angela. So let us know where you're watching from. I think that this topic is definitely, I mean, I have seen a lot of people from across the world. He touched hearts from around the world. So I'm going to jump out of here and I'm going to let you get started.
Okay, thank you. We're so glad to be able to share a few moments with you. You know, people have been globally grieving the passing of the actor Chadwick Boseman. And I remember seeing Black Panther. And when I was in the theater, I couldn't help but think about how I had such a great sense of pride, how brilliant it was, how beautiful it was. And here I was at that time looking at that movie. I was 74. And I'd never seen a movie that impacted me like that other than Spike Lee's movie, Malcolm. That was another classic of favorites that I enjoyed very much. But what really hit me was how art can influence things. When I was a kid, now mind you, I'm 75 now. When I was a kid, I remember going to movies, seeing Tarzan, the king of the jungle. Tarzan, a white man in real fits or diapers and one little knife. And he was the king of the jungle. He would talk to the lions, bula bula, hungawa, bunga bunga. And the lion said, okay, I'm sorry, Tarzan, I'm sorry, okay, and walk away. He'll beat a whole tribe of Africans with spears and shields. And I would say, hey, get him, Tarzan, get him, Tarzan, because of how that was presented. When you think about it, we have not, people of color been indoctrinated, been indoctrinated, not educated in ways to marginalize and to sell us on that we are inferior. And Tarzan, he created his own transportation system in Africa. He would swing from one tree to the other from that time to this time. I've never seen any Africans finding a rope conveniently placed in place and flew. They didn't have, at that time, Uber and Lyft, and so he had his own transportation system. I've never seen a brother swing from tree to tree other than Tarzan. But let me tell you something. I conveyed a message. I was rooting for Tarzan to beat those Africans up who look scrawny and he was far outnumbered, and I wanted him to win. Boy, art tells a lot. And then comes Black Panther, and I'm like this. In Africa, technology, the brilliance, and the role that he played. Let me share something with you. I don't care who they get. There's only one Black Panther to me. I don't care. I'm not going to see nobody else. I'll just look at the same one over and over and over and over again. I want to read something to you. And I want you to think about your goals and your dreams. I believe that we all have a calling. There's something that you're supposed to do, I'm supposed to do. Here's something he said. He spoke at Howard University. Some great advice, but I want to summarize this. If you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Now, this is your time. The light of new realizations shines on you today. Your life legacy is not wrapped up in the money that you will make, but the challenges that you choose to confront. As you commence to your paths, press on with pride and press on with purpose. Press on with pride and press on with purpose. I think that's a message universal for everybody. Press on with pride and press on with purpose. As you look at yourself, look at your goals, look at your dreams. In this pandemic where we are, press on with pride and press on with purpose. 43 out of here. 43. Tomorrow's not promised. And as we look at ourselves, there's something that Picasso said that I love this quote. I love quotes. Only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. Did you hear that? Let me read this to you again. Only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. I just want you to sit with that. Put only the things off till tomorrow that you're willing to die, because you don't know when, you don't know the time, you don't know the day, you don't know the hour, that you're willing to die having that undone. I remember having a dinner with a friend, and the food was good, and it reminded me of my best friend Alexander Boo Wims. We called him Boo, and Boo cooked extremely well. And I talk about this in my book called "You've Got to Be Hungry." And the reason it struck me is because up to that point, I allowed different things get in the way of my completing that book. And then the pandemic came. And when I ate that meal, it reminded me of Boo, who was talking about sharing his secret recipes. No one, when you come to Caribbean recipes, when it comes to Bahamian recipes, Boo was the master. And and he died. And I'll never forget leaving the cemetery, and the lady said, "We buried a good man today." I said, "Yes." And she said, "He said he was going to do this recipe book, and you're going to write the forward. Did he do it?" And I said, "No." And she said, he took that with him. He took that with him. If you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what talents, what abilities, what skills will you take with you? We don't know how much time we have. And I decided after having that meal and that triggered that memory, so I'm gonna get this completed now. I'm not going to take this book to the grave with me. I'm going to get it completed now. And I encourage you to do it. Will it be easy? Well, Chadwick told us no, but choose that road where it's going to be hard, but choose it. Choose it based upon meaning and purpose, because we all have something to do. And we all yearn in our heart of hearts to live a life of meaning and purpose. What's the meaning of your life? What's the purpose of your life? Even at 75, I'm constantly reevaluating myself. Have I done all that I can do? I'm constantly looking at, can I do more to build a legacy? I'm evaluating myself. I'm not given the luxury of being sidelined or stuck. Got limited time to be here, and we don't know the day or the hour. And I'm encouraging you, as you look at your goals and look at your dreams, live consciously, live with a purpose of thinking, what meaning can I provide? What impact that I can inject in this thing called life? Life is made up of time, and it's limited. We don't know how much time we have left. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And many times we become so caught up in the distractions of things. Last week, I challenged people on a 3-day mental diet, not to watch any news for 3 days and see how it impacted you. And some people did that. And I caught myself slipping. I want to be transparent when I got the word about his passing. But I felt better. I was not as nervous. I did not have, as Michelle Obama would say, low grade depression. That when you watch the news, you'll get high grade depression. When you watch insanity that's going on now at the highest office in the world, and all the stuff that's happening by politicians and the mixed messages by health officials, it's not good for your mental health. Studies got to be going on right now that there's a spike in suicide rate. There's a spike in divorce rate, 40%. There's a spike in children committing suicide. There's a spike and all kind of areas that deals with just trying to have a good night's sleep before this. 46% of Americans said they couldn't get a good night's sleep. 46% before the coronavirus. Imagine what it is now. And so I want you to write this down. Spend time experimenting and finding ways in which you can find a sense of peace and anchor yourself in some ritual that can help you to get still and get calm and to begin to review your life and to feel comfortable in your skin. That's an accomplishment all of itself. Turning off the computer, turning off your phone, and turning into your heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. All things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. Find a way, look for things that will give you a sense of purpose. I got friends, when I think about Chris Brown, he and some volunteers are working to feed homeless people out in LA, bathing them and providing food for them and counseling and support for them so that they can begin to live a normal life. Many of them are facing mental challenges. And there are people who are volunteering in so many areas, various churches and various nonprofit organizations, doing what they can to reduce the misery index. What are you doing? What role can you play? What impact can you bring? There's something that you can do. I have a friend named Celeste Johnson, and she's encouraging people to write handwritten letters to friends and family members and tell them, I'm thinking about you. I love you. Are you staying safe? And these are letters of hope. These are letters of caring. When was the last time that you wrote a letter or received a handwritten letter? I'm not talking about a text. It's something about when you receive, and many of these millennials have never seen a handwritten letter. Many of them can't read a handwritten letter. Okay, they don't teach that. They don't even teach that in schools now. But there's something about receiving a handwritten letter saying, I love you. You've meant so much to me. And I want to thank you for the impact that you've made in my life. My mother always said, it's the little things in life that counts. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And during this time, if we discipline our minds to focus on finding the good, focus on what joy can we experience and the joy that we can pass on. Love, happiness, and joy are perfumes you can't sprinkle on others without getting a few drops on yourself. You have something special. Do the work that you came to do. You are called to do something. There's a reason that you're listening to me. There's something in your heart. Will you have a straight line to your goal? No. You're going to have some disappointments. You're going to have some rejections. And Chadwick is right that along the way it's going to be hard, but choose that way where you know it's going to be hard. You will have more rejections than successes, but ultimately you will get through. Ultimately, you will live a life of meaning and significance, just like he has. Out of here at 43. He's just a baby. 43, in the prime of his life. Your life is a blessing. There are people who need you, who need to hear your voice. Silence is no place for anybody to stand right now. Being silent. No. Evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. This is a time for your voice to be heard. This is a time that people are standing up and allowing their voices to be heard and making a greater impact. voices on both sides, the voices of darkness. If you just watch many of these interviews, you learn and get a PhD on how not to answer a plain and simple question. You talk about verbal gymnastics, unlike anything you've ever seen. The day of just answering a simple question, yes or no, has evaporated. Just a simple question, yes or no. That's out of the window. They've been trained how to do that. They're all speaking from the same playbook. But there are voices of truth. There are voices of caring. There are voices of humanity. There's voices of love that are silent right now, that need to be heard. A lady said to me from Australia, who came for me to train her how to amplify her voice after she saw me in the Georgia Dome speaking to 80,000 people. She said, I believe the world is as it is, not because a few people are violent, hateful, and silent. She said, I believe the world is as it is because too many people are silent. You have a voice. And if you're ready to use that voice, I want you to put voice in the comments section for me to train you how to use that voice strategically. If you would like that voice of yours and that story of yours to be told and create an experience, because attention is the new currency. Everybody now has the same tool, the computer, that little green light, the ability to tell your story, to draw attention to yourself, attention to your product or your business, to create an experience to hold that attention and to direct that attention. That affects everything: business, government, community organizations, nonprofits, entrepreneurs. How you are able to transcend that little green light on your computer determines how impactful you are. And you don't know what you don't know. And it's better to have coaching and training and not need it than to need it and not have it. If you can't afford to do it, you can't afford not to do it, because it gives you a competitive edge when you can use your story and your communication skills to create an experience around your selling, your leadership, and your voice, or to advance your career, or to make a greater impact. You have something special. You have greatness in you. Put voice in the comment section. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Ngawa.
Amazing. I wanted to show you this. I think that the handwritten cards, like you started making people think, but I wanted to point out Dana. She said she writes 50 handwritten notes a month, just started 4 months ago, but it's made a huge difference.
Yes.
And Joe over here has his daughters do it.
Yes, it makes a tremendous difference, without question.
And they wanted you to know there were a couple of comments. Millennials know how to write them, just not younger than that. The millennials all don't.
Oh, they know how to write? Okay, that's good. That's good to know that. All right.
Right. And just so you know how the comments work on here, we get so many comments, it only lets me go back the past 100. But there was one I wrote down right at the very beginning. But Scott said that he saw you speak 30 years ago. And to this day, there's a couple things that you said that impact his life on a daily basis. So speaking of making a difference, I just wanted you to know that I believe that you, sir, have made a difference in quite a few people's lives throughout the years.
Thank you so much. To God be the glory. I'm so glad the life that I've chosen to live, and as much as I've chosen it, I know that I was chosen for it. And at 75, I'm looking back and I realized, and I say this often, there's some things that happen to you, but there's some things that happen for you. And all the things that I've gone through, I realize that they happen for me, for my mental, emotional, spiritual growth, for me to be the person that I am now. Because for a long time, I was a little touched in the head. as the neighbors would tell my mother, baby, we'll keep those other 6 kids of yours that you've taken in as foster kids and adopted. But Leslie, when you leave to go downtown or go to work, you got to take him with you because he's a little touched in the head. And there are people who are watching now saying, he still is.
Not at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my kid in play hairstyle is just driving some people crazy. He's back in the 80s. People are asking my children, is your father all right? They're asking my grandchildren, is he having issues? Is he suffering from cabin fever?
I am.
Yeah.
I do have a question that I didn't tell you I was going to ask, but and no one has asked this over here because it probably is one, I say what I think too. So
Yes, I appreciate it.
As somebody that has been battling cancer for 27 years, when you see somebody lose a battle within 4 years, what is that thought process?
What you say to yourself, what I said to myself when I heard about, he's 43. He was 43 and I'm 75. That served me notice. One, that there's more for me to do. There's a reason that I'm still here, that I have not done my best work yet, and I need to step up. And two, gratitude that I'm still able to be here to influence my children, my 15 grandchildren, my 4 great grandsons, and other people around the world that I owe them. I'm still here. I'm who I am because somebody saw something in me. I never knew my birth parents. Mr. Leroy Washington, he became my spiritual father. I adopted him and he didn't know it, but I looked at him and modeled myself after him and followed him around, and he influenced me. And I remember when I took him to a place in Liberty City to have breakfast. And on the way home, I said, I want to talk to you. And at this time, he was blind. And he said, I know, Mr. Brown, you've been very quiet. I said, when we pulled in front of his house, I said, they have some things now that perhaps can help you at the University of Miami, of people who suffer from glaucoma, that perhaps some of your vision could be restored. And he said, no, I'm fine. I'm comfortable with the darkness. I said, oh. I said, but if you want to do it, cost is not an issue. I got you. I'll take care of it. He said, I'm fine. And then, so I went on and opened the door. He was coming out. And I walked him up to the door. And I said, as I put his hand on the doorknob, I said, Mr. Washington, if there's anything that I can do for you, please let me know. He said, you've done a lot for me. You talk about me, I get phone calls and people say, that guy, Leslie Brown, he's been talking about you, the influence you've had on his life. He said, thank you for honoring me like that. I said, okay, you take care, but don't forget, I'm here for you. And I was walking away. He said, Mr. Brown. I said, yes, sir. He said, come here. I said, yes, sir. He said, come closer. I said, yes, sir. He said, I've had thousands of students at Booker T. Washington, in Miami, at Northwestern Senior High School. He said, I don't know what I said or what I did that impacted you, that caused you to become the young man that you are now. He said, but whatever I did, here's what I want you to do. I said, what is it, sir? You name it, I'll do it. He said, pass it on. You pass it on. Do you hear me? Act well your part, for there all the honor lies. You pass it on. I said, every time I speak, sir, I will do that. I'm sure that somebody will hear my voice like I heard yours. I give you my word. I will pass it on. And so when I get ready to speak, my prayer is more of thee, Lord, less of me. And the mandate on my life when I speak, I'm here to pass on hope. I'm here to pass on a larger vision of oneself. I'm here to inspire people to tap into the greatness that we have within ourselves and to overcome the indoctrination of being marginalized and held back. I'm here to help people get a greater experience of themselves and this thing called life. I'm passing it on each time I speak. When you and I talk at 12 noon on LinkedIn and the other platforms, I'm passing it on.
I think you've done a very good job of passing it on, just based off these comments today alone, but I get to see them every single day. Well, we are hitting up on time. We have had a lot of people ask if you could read the Picasso quote one more time.
Oh yes, that isn't that a great quote? The quote is, only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. Wow. Only put off until tomorrow the things that you are willing to die having left undone.
It's powerful.
Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to do just like Chadwick. He acted his way out of here. I'm going to speak my way out of here. I have not done my best work yet. I believe there are still people who resonate with my voice, who, when I speak, it helps to lift their spirits. When I speak, it gives them a charge, a new determination and motivation. When I speak, it connects them to that greatness that they have within them, to know that they're greater than their circumstances and anything that life has thrown at them.
Well, you're doing phenomenal. Look, we've even got one here from Hong Kong. So you're making a difference around the world. All right, sir. Well, wrap us up.
I've got to read this one again by Picasso, Pablo Picasso.
Good.
Only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. As my mother would say, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Oh, behave. Hello. That's how she always punctuated a statement that she said. Yes. Don't put things off. Live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great Monday.
Yes, you too.